Hello everyone, this is Frances Thrash. I am from Virginia Beach and am a longtime member of National Garden Clubs and Virginia Federation of Garden Clubs. I'm here representing them as a master judge and an instructor. I'm hoping that you're going to learn a good bit about judging in a flower show. We of course can't set up a whole flower show for you, so I have just a small segment to show you. I have a point scoring sheet on the far right that I'm going to be referring to, and we use this point scoring sheet to evaluate every flower arrangement in flower shows. And at the very top of that, you're going to see a title. It says Class 2, Blue Skies All Day. An American traditional mass design staged on a tabletop. We have tabletop here with a staging panel. That's what this is called here, a staging panel, and an underlay. And for your best advantage, the two should match. They should be the same color, the same fabric, or same paper. Either way, it doesn't matter, because otherwise you wind up with what we call a cut across your arrangement where the two meet. So you want to have them be the same. The space allotted is 30 inches wide from here to here, 18 inches deep from here to here, and 40 inches tall. It is eligible for the Tricolor Award. Well, what in the world does that mean? Here's the Tricolor Award. It's for all fresh plant material, nothing dried. It has to be just fresh plant material to win this ribbon. And to qualify for this particular class, only fresh plant material is allowed. The other thing that is required is a plant card list, which is simply a little 3x5 card that has all the materials listed in the design. Well, what's the point of that, you ask? It's to let everyone else know what all the materials are that you use in your design. For instance, let me come walking up to you and say, "What's this?" And the card will be there even though you as the designer are not there. So we keep those in front of the design so that it informs the public that comes through what's in that design. Another thing laying here on the table is an entry card, and that tells what design exhibit this is, in what class, what section, and what division. These we require the exhibitor to fill out, and then we have them put them at the spot where their design is. So we look at the first box on our point scoring form, and it says conformance. And the first block says design type. Well, the design type in these designs is what's said as an American traditional mass design. And a mass is typically what you see in a church or maybe a wedding. And what it is, it's what I call a 180 design. It is all the way down. It doesn't stop up here, goes all the way down. Sometimes you see them going even down a little further. That is acceptable. It is not a problem. But they must be a mass to be in this particular class. One thing I failed to tell you is that in a class, you must have 4 exhibits. Well, Frances, you've only got 2. Well, 2 was a lot for me to do. So I decided 2 was enough to explain to you about how this judging is done. So in a class, know that there are going to be 4. And you will have a blue, a red, a yellow, and a white ribbon awarded to those 4 different exhibits. Hopefully. Sometimes if no one scores more than 90, you won't have a blue. Ouch! That really hurts if you don't have a blue in a class. But nevertheless, sometimes it happens. Okay, so then the next question, the next box down, is the other things that are required. That being, is it staged on a tabletop? Yes, they are. With the staging panel and the underlay? Yes, they are. And the space is correct, 30 by 18 by 40. Eligible for the tricolor? Is it all fresh material? Yes, it is. And the plant card is listed. So in the second box, we say that everything is correctly staged, the plant card is available, and it is fresh plant material. So we have a little bitty box opposite Exhibit 1 that is there with the two first boxes, and we will put 14 points in that box. That means they got all the points for that first section on conformance. The next part is design, and you will notice that the number of points there is 48. Wow, that's almost half. That means it is very important that the design be well done. So the first principle that's listed is balance. And this particular one, it's known as symmetrical balance. That means when I look at it, I see basically a line down the middle. Half is the same as the other half. And it is just slightly off balance because of the placement of the center Gerbers. They're not exactly lined up, but that's okay. We really wouldn't take much off, if anything off, for that. Maybe we would take one and say it's just a little bit off balance. So -1. The dominance is the next principle that we will look at. And the largest flower in here and the brightest color are the Gerbers. And those would be what we would state as being the dominant flower in there. That's this. By the way, as a judge, I'm not allowed to touch. I can point, I can get real close, but I'm not allowed to touch. When I am judging these, I must stand 3 feet in front and not look on the side or the other side or get really super close. 3 feet back. There'll be things that I'll point out to you that you'll see why. Okay, so the Gerbers are the dominant thing. Next is contrast on the point scoring sheet. We have shapes that are different, round shapes and the lily shapes that have open air in them, and different colors. So we have contrast in there. That's important. Do I have to tell you exactly what it is? I will tell you that it is forms, it is textures, and it is colors. The next point on there is rhythm. Rhythm means how does your eye travel through a design? In this case, your eye is going to want to walk through those Gerbers. It's going to see those Gerbers. And so we say the Gerbers give us rhythm in this particular design. Proportion. Proportion is how this design fits in the space where it's given and how it fits in its container. Okay, in traditional designs, we say from the container top, we can go 1.5 up to 2. It's a touch tall, not terribly, but just a little bit for the container as it is now. Also, the proportion is how it fits into this frame that it's in. Is there space here? Is there space on the other side? Is there space on the top? Or is there too much space in spots? It's a little bit short. It needs to have less space up here because it has like 3 inches around the sides. It should have 3 inches at the top. So we will work on that in a bit. But at the moment, we're going to take 2 points off for proportion for it being a little short. Scale is the last of the principles that are listed under the design section, and that means, do I have flowers that don't go together? Things that are too small or too big. So I always jokingly laugh about putting a stargazer lily in a teacup. That's out of scale. The teacup is so small, the stargazer lily is way too big. As these are, none of them are out of scale to the container nor to each other. So the scale works. The selection of components is the next block over there. And what we're trying to do is a traditional design. So we have all traditional materials. There are no anthuriums, there are no heliconia, they're all traditional materials. And it is in a traditional placement with a traditional container. This is a very traditional container here. So it gets all 8 points. The next is organization of components. And it is organized in a traditional manner. We said it was a traditional mass. And it's just a touch short. Well, we already penalized it once for that, but that is how it's organized. And so we will take another point at this block for it being a little short. Expression. Expression is looking at the title, Blue Skies All Day. So why do we say it's good or not good in expression? Well, first off, blue skies, we've got this staging panel that is a sky blue. So it's definitely got blue skies all day with this particular staging panel. The next thing is, can I see mechanics that have helped to put this together or have hindered this? Usually that's oasis showing or wires showing. I don't see any oasis. It all looks good. It's all covered. The last thing is there other things in here that we need to address? And the background here has wrinkles in it, which is a disadvantage. We do not want it to have wrinkles in that background. So we take a point for it having wrinkles in that background. Well, then I go back up and I add up all these points that I've taken off. So I had 1 under balance, 2 under proportion, 1 under organization, and oh, I forgot. Some of the lilies are a little on the damaged side. So when I'm looking at the materials, I can see some marks on the lilies. I need to take a point for that as well. So all in total, I have taken off 6 points, making this score 94, which is a blue, but it is not eligible for this tricolor ribbon. You must score 95 to win this ribbon. So what could we do to make that different? Well, I have a little solution. I'm going to make it taller. Okay, now sometimes you buy these containers and they come with a glass block under them. It's glued to it. So I made my own. It's black. It is actually a clear cube that I've covered with black. But do you see what happened up here? It raised it up to where I have a more appropriate border here. Well, I took off 3 points because of it being short. I can add those 3 points back in, making this score 97, more than 95, and eligible for that tricolor award. Very good. Okay, we're now going to look at number 2. And we ask the same questions. Under conformance, is it a mass? Is it staged correctly? Is the plant card provided? Is it all fresh? And yes, it answers all those questions with a positive answer, and so you get 14 points. Next is the design, the 48 points, and we ask, is it balanced? Well, it's slightly off balance. It's more to the left than it is to the right. It's a little bit long here, a little bit tall there. So we need to take some points off. I took off 2 points for that being a slightly off balance. We ask the dominance. What's the dominant thing? The largest flower is going to be your dominant thing. That's the lilies, the stargazer lilies. Contrast. We have contrast in forms. The lilies, the round forms of the carnations. We also have contrast in colors and textures. So we have all those different contrasts going on. Rhythm is provided by the placement of the lilies. Proportion, It is slightly wide. It almost reaches outside its space on both sides, and it's a touch short, not terribly, but a little bit. So again, I'm going to take 2 points off for proportion. At scale, we have the small mini carnations that are in here. Are they a problem? They could be a problem. They're very small, but this is traditional, and we're allowed to use filler flowers and filler materials. So in this case, because it's traditional, we allow the smaller flowers. It's okay. The next is selection. It is a traditional composition selected in a traditional container. This is again a conditional container. It is organized into a slightly wide arrangement. It is an asymmetric, meaning that it is not centered in the spot where it is, which is okay. One side is heavier with the aspidistra, the other side is a little lighter with the bells of Ireland. That is okay, but that it is oversized is not okay. So we would take a point there. Next is expression. Does it say blue skies all day? Well, this is blue, but to me, it looks like water. It doesn't look like a blue sky. So I would have to take some points off for it not being a blue sky. I'm going to say 2 points off for it not being a blue sky. Then distinction. We ask, are the materials all fresh and in good condition? I don't see any problems with any materials that are here. These lilies are not damaged. They don't have marks on them. Nothing appears to be wilted. Nothing appears to be broken. And then with the background, I can see a little rip here, a little ding there, a little wrinkle, so I have to take a point for that. All total, I have taken off 9 points on this one, making this one score 91. So it is a blue quality, but it would definitely not be eligible for that 95 tricolor ribbon. Okay, so I hope you've learned a lot with doing this, learning about how your arrangements would be judged in a flower show, and thank you for having me.